this kind of quantity and grind them up, boil them up, and turn them into industrial commodities and feed them to fish. I mean, not farm fish. Feed them to pigs, feed them to chickens, turn them into fertilizer, turn them into pet food, turn them into lipstick, linoleum, all kinds of useful products. I mean, that's one perspective. The other perspective is the one, this is why I use the title. This is the most important fish in the sea. This is the fish that is the keystone for the marine ecology of this coast and the Gulf Coast. That's it in a nutshell. This is, according to the industry, a success story. This useful little fish just renews itself. It's a renewable resource. I don't know if can you all see this all the way back there? This is from the official ASMFC figures. What we're dealing with from 1982 to 2009, we've lost 90% of the population. We'd have 10% of what we had in 1982, and this population is a very small fraction of the historical population. So, why is this the most important fish in the sea? See, this isn't working.
It went dead, yeah.
Oh, it went dead. Okay. So why is this the most important fish in the sea? I really like talking with fellow fishing people because I don't have to start out, with the ABCs. Everybody here in this room, I'm sure, knows part of that ABC, why this fish is so important. Because every predator fish on this coast and the Gulf Coast wants to eat this. This is their favorite food. And way back in 1880, the great ichthyologist G. Brown Good wrote the first book on Menhaden. It's a wonderful book. And he did decades of research on Menhaden. And in the book, he says, this is a quote, when someone eats bluefish, bonitos, weakfish, swordfish, bass, codfish, what is he eating? Usually nothing but Menhaden. That's a direct quote. Well, that may be a little bit of an overstatement, but we know from our experience that fish are obsessive. They go wild in their quest for bunker. And it's not just all these predatory fish. It's birds. So we know that. We know how to spot bluefish and maybe stripers or weakfish underneath the bluefish because the birds are going crazy. Well, this is an essential diet for these predatory fish, for the birds. There's a section that I deal with in the book, which is just a brief summary of research that's been done on the osprey population of Long Island. And the osprey population in Long Island is failing because they don't have the necessary, essential food they need for their chicks. They do not have enough Menhaden. Many of the marine birds, gannets, of course, we know about that. Those are key markers. Also porpoises, other toothed mammals, humpback whales. They all go wild for this. Now, why is this? It's basically because this is an essential part of their diet. Why is it an essential part of their diet? Because all these predators, just like everybody here in this room, has to have omega-3 fatty acids, which ultimately derive from vegetative sources, whether we're talking about land animals or sea animals. And these marine predators, like everybody else in this room, is incapable of digesting one of the main sources of this, which is cellulose. We cannot digest cellulose. The land animals that can digest cellulose, have some special way of doing it. I mean, cows have 4 stomachs, and they come up with it and chew their cud, and back down it goes. Rats and rabbits eat their own poop, so it goes down twice. So the fish out there focus our attention on, what we like to focus our attention on. They're targeting these menhaden because these menhaden are the best source they possibly can have of omega-3 fatty acids. Why? Because the menhaden not only get eaten, but they also eat. And what do they mainly eat? They mainly eat phytoplankton. That is algae. And by doing this, they turn themselves into these great reservoirs of omega-3 fatty acids. In doing this, they're doing something else which is also essential for our marine environment. That is, they are filtering, cleaning the waters. They're filter feeders. And as they swim through the water in these tightly packed schools that we're all familiar with, they're doing several things. One thing is they're clarifying the water. So I was talking with John before about how he's noticed how when the waters get cloudy around here, the menhaden are coming through to get that organic matter. And in doing that, they're clarifying the water, allowing sunlight to get down there to the vegetation down at the bottom, which is so important for crabs and young fish and so forth, harboring that population. So that's one function. But much more important is by consuming the algae, they are preventing the overgrowth of algae that can form toxic blooms. And even if the blooms themselves are not toxic, the overgrowth of algae then can die, form a blanket that goes down and kills everything down at the bottom. This is what's happening in Chesapeake Bay. We'll get to it in a minute. Now, we say that these fish are filter feeders. How much are they filtering? If you look at the scientific literature and you look at the filtration that is being conducted by just one adult menhaden, that's about say a 12-inch adult menhaden. What would you think of the quantity of water that they are filtering? This is going to be hard to believe, but in the scientific literature, the lowest estimate is 4 gallons of water a minute. When I talked to ventures to a fishing club as a member of the Rare Bay Fishing Club, another guy in the club said afterwards, he said, you know, I run a little business. It's a professional power cleaning business. My equipment puts out 4 gallons of water a minute. When you try to get 4 gallons of water a minute out of a tap at home, you can't do that. Actually, the scientific literature indicates that it ranges between 4 and 7 gallons of water a minute. So then imagine the schools, even the schools that we know, which are little tiny schools, really, considered historically. You imagine a school packed like that, their mouths turn into a big tube as they're going through the water, filtering everything in that water. They're targeting the phytoplankton, that is the algae, but they're getting everything. And unlike practically any other marine animal, well, there are a few others, but certainly not the predators, they can actually digest the cellulose that they're taking in. Well, what happens when they're stripped out of the environment? Since this video was released, the restrictions that the states have imposed on the menhaden reduction industry have left only Virginia and part of North Carolina open to the fishery. Every other state, the 13 out of the 15 states on this coast have, in one way or another, banned the industry. And when we get to the history, we'll see why they